recording this because we are now at the, I guess, 12 o'clock mark Eastern, all different times, 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 Atlantic. So today we are having our market shifting webinar. So thanks everyone in here, and just a quick sound check. Everyone, I can imagine, can hear us okay. I can see you all popping into the chat.
Yeah.
And we've got people from all over the place. So if you want to put into the chat where everyone's from, I know we've got some from Vancouver, Toronto. I think I've seen some from Florida.
Wow, wonderful. Oh, so exciting.
Yeah. Wisconsin and Illinois.
Yeah.
Calgary, Oakville, Chicago, Dallas. Wow. Got y'all from all over. And what's interesting is that, you know, we're all in this shifting market together, but all of our markets are different. So there's a little bit slightly different shift for everyone and what everyone's encountering.
Yeah.
So today we have Beverly Ruffner with us and Tara Bayless. Both of them have been working alongside with Agent Locator for a while now. Beverly has been, some of you may know her. She does our live dialing sessions twice a month on Wednesdays. And she's an expert when it comes to talking to leads and conversion and all of that. She's been doing this for a long time. And then we've got Tara here. So Tara is a local realtor in the GTA. She uses our platform specifically along with, you know, other services, but she has been working her leads and also manages a brokerage. So she has been dealing all in this, and she is excellent at converting her leads too. So both these ladies are phenomenal at their jobs. Both of them actually have very different approaches to how they run their lead generation or their business in general when it comes to their conversions. So Tara, did you want to tell everyone just a little bit of background about yourself and how you kind of got to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully I don't bore everybody, but I first started in the business just after I bought with my husband at the time, our first house. So in 1991, I started becoming a real estate assistant to one of the top realtors in the area I was in. So I kind of developed my own administration business. And I ended up having over 13 years a waiting list of other realtors that wanted me to come work for them. It became so much more than just administration. It actually became a real estate business that I was running. And then it kind of got to the point where after 13 years, my husband at the time said, "Aren't you tired of making everybody else some good money? Let's get your license." So there I became a realtor. And then when I became a realtor, I maybe, 17 years ago now, maybe, I just took off to the races, and I learned very quickly, very, very quickly, that there was no tree to sit under to make deals, you know, plop on my lap. I learned very quickly that I had a sphere of influence list, but not everybody was going to use me right away. So I had to get business because now I was doing this. And that's where my lead conversion started close to 18 years ago, where I figured out how to gain people's trust, how to get them to want to work with me and continue to build the relationship to grow the business where I am at now. Yeah, that's a little bit about Tara.
Yeah, a little bit about Tara.
I never forget my why.
Yeah.
I never forget the reason I'm doing this is because of two children, Andrew and Austin Bayless. And that's what keeps me showing up even today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Beverly, you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. What a great story. And there's a lot of similarities in our stories.
I knew it.
Yeah. I'm just going to piggyback off of that. And Tara, what I took away from your story is you really focused on becoming the master of a lot of different things. And before you even had boots on the ground with real estate, you were so well faceted in so many different things that you were just able to go balls to the wall with everything you were doing. And That's what I always say. When I get into real estate, it was 2005. I was just bored. Like I didn't have enough of a challenge in everything that I had previously done in my life. And I thought, well, real estate, if it doesn't challenge me, I got a problem. And I got into 2005, right before the shift, right? I mean, we were 2008 to 2008 is when we had our big shift. So I had 3 like powerful, great years. And then I'm like, okay, now I got to figure this shit out. And I put all my eggs in the lead conversion basket very early, which sounds like it's around about the same time that you did, 2008, 2009. And it was a totally different game then, right? Compared to today. But the consistency, and you said it so greatly, of I've learned how to build people's trust. There's no magic bullet. There's no word to say. There's no nothing to do. There's no person to be. It's listening. It's gaining that trust. It's helping them to understand that you care. And that's just one thing that I can say you and we did very well. And which is why we're on the webinar today. But it doesn't matter to me what's going on with the market. Shifts are going to happen. It happens. We own a restaurant. It's happened in the restaurant industry right now. We got restaurants closing around us. Whatever business you're in, you're going to have ebbs and flows, and you can either choose to give it up or get through it. And the only way we're going to get through it is making those choices. And thank God we have a shift, because it makes us pay attention. It makes us aware. It makes us do things that we may have never done in the past. So I'm grateful for the shift that happened in the past, and looking at this shift of what can we learn from this? How can we make lemonade out of the lemons right now? And, it's what brought me here today is I'm a systems fanatic. And if I'm going to do something, I want to make sure I'm always efficient with my time, because I can't stand wasting my time. And, working your database and keeping it organized is, in my opinion, in a service industry, that is your retail. That is your inventory. And that is, to your point, Tara, it's, if you are going to want people to trust you, you've got to take good notes. Come on. And it's just about how many people can you put in that database and follow up with, honestly. I mean, that's what it is, being real.
Absolutely.
If I can interject, Crystal, I feel like I've just met my twin. I am so happy right now, because truth be told, we haven't spoke yet. I have seen your recorded of the dialing with you, phenomenal, but I literally felt like I just met my twin, because this business, and because I'm the manager here now, as well as a local realtor, when I see a lot of the new people getting into the industry, which over COVID, a lot of people became realtors, and I understand why. But my first question is to them, how many came in thinking this was quick and easy money? And gosh, golly, for the last 2 years, it actually has been very quick money. You put a house on the market, it sells the next day, you get paid in 30 days. But that's far from the reality of real estate. I cannot stress enough to people that if you want to have a sustainable business, you have to have a relationship building real estate career. Right? And that's what it takes with systems and practice and good lead gen. Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Beverly, people buy the Google pay-per-click leads and then they get really frustrated because they say they're no good, but they haven't done anything with them. And then I go back and say, well, what is your system? Right? Yeah.
Because everybody in the world is going to move, even if you're homeless. Sorry. Everybody's going to move at some point. So it doesn't matter who is in your database. When they're in there, at some point, they're going to be moving.
Right. Right. This is what I always say. Sometimes it's not about the lead. It's about who the lead knows. You treat these people with systems, nice, gentle touches. You build their trust. You're kind when you're communicating with them. And if they don't use you, they will refer you.
Absolutely.
Right. So our delivery is everything, even when you're doing the phone calls. Or for me, I concentrate a lot on my drip campaign. it's what they're getting and how you're saying it that will solidify
Mhm.
them, the people they know, and everything else going forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very true. Now, Beverly, what's your market doing where you are? What are you, and I guess with respect to your
We have a
business?
real estate market right now.
Yeah. Well, what are you noticing right now? Because obviously interest rates between like the United States and Canada and
Real
anything.
estate
like
agents
that.
are officially on vacation right now.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything because there's nothing to do. I mean,
Nope.
that's facetious, but it's just halted. You know,
halted.
things are selling to the
Mhm.
have-tos
Yeah.
because we're in a transient area and we have people relocating in and relocating out. But really, the only thing that's moving is the have-tos because everyone's waiting. We're in mid-election.
Yeah.
And interest rates are rising.
Mhm.
Sellers are freaking spoiled, and what, I don't have 50 people through with 20 offers. Like I put my house on the market and it's been a week and nobody's been in my house. I don't have 10 offers. So it's the adjustment. And I think one of the biggest downfalls that I see is agents not being able to explain what's going on because A, they haven't been through the shift, B, they're nervous as hell
Mhm.
and they don't know what to expect because they don't know their numbers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, it's, if you've been through a shift, I think it's a little bit more easy to roll through because you just understand the ebbs and the flows. I mean, like Tara said, this is not a get rich quick thing. And real estate, you're gonna make a shit pile of money for a minute and then you're not. And then you are, and then you're not. And
Yep.
hello, welcome to be a business owner.
Mhm. Are
Yeah.
you noticing with your leads in your database now as you're doing your follow-ups? What kind of shift are you noticing with their behaviors and how you're interacting with them? So what we found during, prior to this shift is a lot of individuals are sitting there on the sidelines because they didn't want to get into that crazy market. And now we're finding the complete opposite where they're now sitting again on the sidelines, but it's for a completely different reason, right? So they're always kind of at a standstill. So what are you finding with the leads when you're reaching out to them right now? With your databases that you're working? specifically?
Their mindset is still in the past
Mhm.
of what the market was. And they're having difficulty getting into the reality of what the market is and adjusting to this being the normal.
Mhm.
Because in reality, this is kind of a normal market, but
Mhm.
they just got really spoiled with the mindset of where they were. So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm tired of being up against multiple offers. Well, now you're not.
Yeah.
But oh, that's still not good enough because now interest rates are high. So it's the conversations of, well, I want to wait and see what happens with interest rates. Okay, well, they're going to continue to go up. Well, I want to wait and see what happens to home prices. Okay, well, they'll probably readjust a little bit. Do you have to move? Do you want to move?
Mhm.
And really having that real conversation of finding, do they have to move or do they want to move? And because it all comes down to, you got to get them to, how much is it going to cost you a month in a mortgage? That's the only thing that matters.
Mhm.
So I don't care what they're saying on the phone. I don't look at it as an objection. I look at it as a real conversation because they have to understand where they are and what their wants and needs are and where's the bigger pain. Is the bigger pain staying where you are and waiting it out?
Mhm.
Or is there a solution? How much are you paying now? How much would it cost you? And is it worth it to improve your lifestyle? And if they can't say yes, then it's not time for you to buy.
Mhm.
So yes, you are going through more leads and having more conversations, but it's imperative to know how to have that conversation. Because
Mhm.
if not, you're going to have a lot of, okay, well, I'll check back in with you in 3 months and give you a market update. You have to get to the point of their pain. Where is
Mhm.
their pain? Is the pain great enough to get them past where their mind is
Mhm.
in the past?
Awesome. And Tara, what are you doing specifically different? I know we've had our sessions and kind of go around this while we're discussing things. But what specifically are you doing differently now with this shift? I know you have a lot of your campaigns that you're utilizing, but how are you approaching your database right now, seeing as we're noticing that a lot of people are kind of becoming a little less responsive That's one of the more common things that we're hearing from our agents is the leads are becoming less responsive to them.
Mhm.
Are you encountering the same in your area? And what are you doing different with the database to encourage them to actually be responsive to you?
Well, I'll tell you, very similar our markets. It seems, Beverly, to what we're dealing with here. We're going from extremely craziness to listings sitting on the market. We've just had our fourth mortgage rate increase, which is significant. It's increased significantly, and apparently there's more coming. Understand, I think the biggest frustration that we're having is we went very quickly from a seller's market to a buyer's market, everything in bidding wars to everything now sitting, and still trying to get these buyers to come in the door of your listings. Showings came down, everything kind of came to a real big halt. So because I have developed this drip campaign, I knew right away, and we've talked about this multiple times, Crystal, right away, I'm like, every single week, I have to reevaluate how I'm touching my leads, and I have to address what's going on. So, one of the drips that we did was now I brought it right in, and it's called negotiate. Guess what? Now you can put conditions back into your offers. Now you can negotiate a price. So I'm really trying to continue to keep those touches relevant to what people are experiencing. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. In the last 3 weeks, the replies and the conversations I'm having with the leads have increased 10 times. And I do believe it's because working the leads is a solid pillar of my business, just like all the other pillars. So as long as I'm staying on touch, on top of what's happening, and I address it to the people, they start talking to me. But it's me being on top of it every single day, knowing what they need from me. And I think a lot of people have questions. A lot of buyers have to say to themselves, am I even going to qualify for what I was pre-approved for 2 months ago? And that's our job to say, you got to talk to your mortgage person again. You got to know what your numbers are. And exactly what Beverly has said, let's go over your numbers if you want, because maybe now isn't the time to move, because it just doesn't make financial sense. The thing that we have to remember, and this is exactly what I say, is it's not up to us to tell the lead when they're moving. This is their show. This is not our show. What I'm trying to establish with my leads and why I've been successful is that when the time is right for them, they're going to think of Tara Bayless. And I'm always in it for the end game, not the immediate return. That's what I do.
And it makes the world of a difference. And I think both of you have the same ideas. It's you're building those relationships, and you have to earn the business, and you have to, gain the trust of those leads to work with you, whether it's in the next 3 months, the next 3 or 9 years, right? So they're all going to move, right? As Bev says, everyone's going to move. It's just being there and ready and facilitating that and working your database until they get to that finish line.
Well, and I'm looking at one of the anonymous comments in the chat or in the Q&A, and it's, Tara, when do you introduce yourself or introduce your voice to the lead? Because they're having a hard time actually having a phone conversation with people. And I know for me to answer that question is just consistency. And when we can identify the problem in the market, all we're doing is providing the solution. We're providing the answers to the questions that all of these leads we know are asking. So you were mentioning drip campaign. It might be time to change drip campaigns. If you're not interacting with your leads, give them what they want and be that person. So my whole big thing is right now is this infrared sauna. So I started going down like this black hole because I was like, oh, infrared sauna blanket. Oh, I'll have to go to a sauna. So now I got all this shit popping up in my Facebook feed, on my side Google bar, like everything. So I actually have a screen opened up, $6,000 for sauna. I'm like, okay, well, what works better? What benefits more? Do I pay a monthly fee and just go, or do I buy a sauna for my house? They're doing the same thing with real estate. If someone sent me an email right now and said the benefits of infrared light, I'd be like, oh shit, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Because they're answering my questions, right?
Yeah. yeah.
Just identify with your leads, get them something.
And that's the whole thing. And I think everybody's different. I have a drip campaign that I worked for 18 years to master. And it's always a work in progress, depending on what the conditions are in the market, as I was saying. I do think you do need to make some calls. And I think that you need to know how to, the right way to talk to them to get them to respond to you. What lead conversion is about, you trying to get these people to engage with you. So if you do have the right drip campaign, like I do, where they reply to those emails, I'm answering at least 20 to 30 emails a day from my leads. Every day they're
And that's the caveat right there, Tara.
right?
Answer the text, answer
Girl,
the emails.
I
see
have
it
a
all
note
the time.
here. Response time. How many times do I say in the brokerage to the people that I've coached, your response time is everything. If somebody sends you an email from the listings that the agent locator is sending out and they say, can you call me please? I have a question. If you wait 2 hours, guess what? I've called them. Honestly, because if they're asking you, they're asking another agent that also are sending them listings. And I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to respond.
Yeah. And if you're not
Mhm.
having the engagement in your dashboard, you're not working it enough.
Yeah.
And you're not working it the right way. And it really does take, Tara, that there's 3 different forms of communication, right? We need to be texting, we need to be emailing, and we need to be dialing.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
we don't know how a lead's going to respond.
Yeah, that's
Now
right.
now everybody wants to know Tara's drip campaign and questions.
Well, you know what? Interesting though. I mean, Crystal and I, in our last 2 or 3 sessions together, we started building a community drip campaign. So, I mean, everybody's going to have some access to that for sure, I believe.
But only if they stay till the end of the webinar.
Yeah, exactly. You got it right on the 60-minute. Listen, a perfect example, and I'm sure, you know, Beverly, you have this, a listing that I have right now, you know, she came on Agent Locator 4.5 years ago. And that's why this isn't about, oh my gosh, they're not doing anything yet. This woman didn't reply every single week. This woman didn't reply every single month, but she did reply. And I continued for 4.5 years to have communication. And then now it's her time. We've listed her house. You know, that's why you just don't delete right away. I've gotten leads in my car who literally have said to me, you're the only one that never gave up on me, Tara. Because when everybody else was calling me and I'm telling them, you know what, I'm not ready yet, all of a sudden they deleted me. I'm not getting listings anymore. And she said to me, her name was Allison, when I told you I wasn't ready yet, you replied, take your time. I'll be here when you are.
Yep. And that's
So
what
do you
I always say.
understand?
I don't care when you buy or when you sell. I just want you to remember me.
It's all about remembering us. That's the power of your name going in their inbox every week, every
Tara,
day.
are you saying not to worry about that one lead that you can never get a hold of that's looking at properties every day? Oh, they just want to answer the phone. Are you saying like not to worry about that? That they'll know when they're ready?
They'll know when they're ready. Guess what? There are many examples. Listen, let me tell you, oh, this causes me I get so excited talking about this. This time last year, I listed a woman's property and I sold her a condo. So we did 2 transactions within 2 weeks. This woman came on 6 years ago, and she was one of the few people that never did reply to my emails. Never. But I wasn't going to delete her because she never asked for me to delete. I don't delete, right? So then when I met her, I'm like, oh my gosh, Kelly, I can't believe I'm finally seeing your face. And she's like, Tara, I always knew it was going to be you. I know I didn't reply, but I always knew. But I never gave up.
I am going to say, Tara, I'm just going to level this up just a little bit. your energy exudes through the internet.
Mhm.
And
Oh, well,
I
yeah,
always say that because you know, it's
Yes.
like I'll get on a training, I'll make one phone call and people answer the phone and they're like, I've been calling this person 10 times and they never answer the phone. I'm like, because I don't care. I have no attachment to the outcome. I'm not looking to force anybody to do anything. The energy that I am eluding when I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling leads is I freaking love what I do. I love people. I love conversations. I want to meet you where you are and know where you are and see where I fit into your life.
yes.
So that alone, people
Yeah.
feel that and they don't know why. I mean, I've had people pick up the phone and go, I can't believe I picked up the phone. And I'm like, because you can't. It's
It's
just
really
that
true.
feeling. And it's very
Yeah.
true. So guys, just get happy, man. Get excited about what you do. And if you're having a bad day, maybe not call your leads that day because like attracts like.
Exactly.
You know what? I was just training some of our newer agents who have just started on Agent Locator. And that's what because a lot of them don't want to make some calls. A lot of them are like, this is really uncomfortable for me. Even sending emails, they're uncomfortable with. And I said to them the same thing. If you go into anything with a very negative already disposition, then that's going to come through no matter what you type, no matter what you say. You have to have positivity. You have to dig deep and create positivity. Let me tell you something about Tara Bayless. If I got somebody calling me and they are the biggest Debbie Downer, if I say, I hope you have a good day, and they say, oh, it's raining. If I say the sky is blue, they'll go, yeah, but there's clouds. I don't want to respond to people where I feel their vibe is all about drama or they're all about negative. I don't need that. And this is my job. I'm a commissioned salesperson. So if I don't dig deep and if I don't turn positivity on, I'm not making any money because nobody is going to work with you unless you get to a place where you understand you may be feeling really bad. You may be having a bad day, but when you're talking to a lead or a client or whoever about business, you bring the show on. I always say, sometimes I think we're the greatest actors and actresses in the world because when I'm talking to my people, they do not know what is going on in my life ever. And that is, in my opinion, one of the greatest things to achieve when you want to convert and you want to sell real estate is you got to figure out how to turn it on, even on the darkest days, or don't call it all. Take a day, right? Take a day.
Well, now that we've set the theme, Crystal.
Yeah. Well, we have a question here, so I'm going to go through some of our questions that we had submitted prior to the webinar. Everyone that is on here, you do have the Q&A, you do have the chat. So if there are questions, we'll try to get through as many of those as we can. Just depends on how much discussion we do have at this. So one of the questions that came in through that form is from Sabrina. And she's just wondering, how would one approach buyers and sellers right now when there is very little or no interest in buying and selling, or that's gone way down? So what are you two doing a little bit differently, or how have you shifted your approach when it comes to your leads?
I really haven't shifted the story because where are you in the process and how important is it for you to get here? Nothing's changed. And again, it's the only limitations we have is what we're thinking about the shift in the market, because the shift means absolutely nothing to someone's situation.
Yeah.
So when we're having a conversation with somebody, it's what is your situation and why do you have to move? When do you have to move by? Is there a reason to move? Is there an urgency to move? If not, don't move.
Yep.
I'm not here to fix your problem. I'm here to help strategize moving on with your life.
Yeah, perfect. I would say, because this is a market that I've experienced before, what we've experienced the last 2 years was, in my opinion, a phenomenon. I mean, this is what real estate always is. Buyers are going to take a long time to buy if they've got a lot to choose from. You show them 2 houses and they say, we didn't really see anything, because they know there's going to be 20 more that come on the market tomorrow. Right? I mean, this is all part of the process. Listings, when you list them, when I first got licensed, some listings were on the market for 6 months. This is what I call normal real estate. Of course, I need to make money now, but there is always going to be people that do want to buy and sell right away. That's their need. The biggest thing is just, you've got to stay positive and you've got to stay part of their life. You're not ready now. Guess what, guys? It doesn't make sense for you to move now, but let's just sort of keep in touch. As soon as that happens, they're on my monthly newsletter. They're getting all of my pop-by gifts. I treat people like they're part of my past client community, even if they haven't done business with me, so I can continue to secure the relationship until they do.
And Tara, you said something profound earlier that I wanted to piggyback on, because when you tell people that it might not be time for you to buy right now, they're like, what? You're not trying to make a sale? That's where my biggest referrals come from.
Absolutely.
Because they then know you're real. They then know you're not after the pocketbook. They know then you're not after the sale, that you're being honest and truthful. And they want to share that with their friends and family, because they finally ran into a salesperson that's not looking for a commission, that's looking to hit percent. So
I'm very honest with people like you are. I'm like, I need to sleep at night. If the numbers don't make sense, clearly, I'm going to recommend they stay. They still choose to do what they want, but I have to sleep. And I have been around, how can I say this? I have been around enough realtors where I've seen pushy realtors push people into listing. I've seen it. And I also have seen the consequences of it. And I have always said, if my people are going to use me, they're going to feel like their family. They're going to be treated kind, with respect and total honesty. That is part of our code of ethics.
And that's what drives me, is knowing the service that they'll get from another agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
The
Is there
whole
anything-
answer that question.
Yeah. 100%.
and then what are you guys, so obviously lot has not shifted for you. Everyone on here is encountering something different with their businesses. But what can someone be doing in this current market to stay active? Like, what do you suggest, whether it's just your lead generation or whatever other pillars, what do you suggest for an agent to stay active in this market?
That's a whole other webinar, Crystal. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket, you're going to get caught with your pants down. Firsthand, it happened to me.
Can't do it.
A table can't stand on one leg.
Thank
A
you.
table-
Thank you.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. A strong table has 4 or more legs. Exactly. Yes. And
Yep.
we have to really we're in the database gathering business. We just happen to sell real estate. It's lucrative when it pays off.
Mhm.
So get your mind out of the fact that I sell real estate, I sell real estate, I sell real estate. Put yourself around people. Put yourself around your people's people.
Yep.
People that you want to be around, people that you want to have real conversations with. And if you're not around them, get around them. Figure out
Yep.
where they are. And this goes into why it's another webinar, is this goes into your ideal client. This goes into doing what you love and loving what you do and being around the people that you want to be around. If you love tennis, hang around with tennis people. Tennis people buy homes, and tennis people know people that buy homes.
Mhm.
So just don't put your eggs in one basket and get creative, man. Watch your competition. What's your competition doing? Be a little bit better than your competition. It's not hard.
It's not hard. It's not. I always say, exactly, you've got to have 3 to 4 pillars of your business. We have the internet, which is what I consider the agent locator, the pay-per-click leads, website leads, whatever, right? You've got your farming, you've got your sphere of influence, and you've got your past clients. So, so many people say, well, I want to be just like you. And this is exactly what I say. Tell me what your 4 pillars of your business are. And they'll be like, well, you know what? I'm really just referrals. Well, one pillar will always dry up. A successful, sustainable real estate business is somebody that uses and has a business plan for each pillar. Listen, let me tell you something. There's days that I don't want to be a realtor. Let's be real. I'm super honest. I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still trying to get business. I need more business, whatever it is. That's who we are. But I'm always working each 4. I had a 3-hour exam yesterday. I'm the manager of my company. I have 5 listings on the go right now, and I have buyers. And I still, after my 3-hour exam, I was like, I'm brain dead. Like I'm done. I felt done. And I looked at my son because he just got licensed on Friday. And I said to my son, we're working pillar 4. We're going door knocking. And we went out and we door knocked, right? It would have been real easy for me to go, let me just take the next 2 hours off. But you know what? I'm a commission salesperson. I am a realtor. I have a business plan and I follow it. So thank you, Beverly, for saying that.
Well, your dreams have to be bigger than your excuses.
4 legs, 4 legs. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we do have another question here with respect to first-time buyers. So would you, and again, this is going to differ in different areas, just with interest rates and home price adjustments, it's different everywhere. But would you consider now a good time for a first-time buyer? If yes, then why? And if you have any suggestions on mortgage, would they be better off with variable or fixed in that scenario?
Well, listen, I'm not a mortgage rep. I'm not going to give you mortgage advice, but that I leave that again, you can tell I just did my broker's course. We got to leave that to professionals, but this is what I say. What a better time for first-time buyers to buy a house when they can negotiate the price. And you can go in with conditions on your offer. Do it. The interest rates have gone up. When I bought my first house in 1989, my interest rate was 11.75%. And you know what my parents said to me? Wow, you got a really good deal, Tara, because theirs was 17. I love the fact that buyers have choice. They can negotiate and they can protect themselves in an offer, because for the last 2 years here, when we're getting 20 offers on properties and all of this stuff, how were we protecting our buyers when they were going in firm on a property that we were only ever in once? And because it was COVID, we were only in it for 30 minutes, right? I just think it's a perfect time to buy, my opinion.
I would challenge that to be a different question, because it's very buyer specific. What is your situation, first time home buyer? How much are you paying for rent right now? How much would a mortgage be? Does it make sense to you? Does it not make sense to you? If your rent is up and you have to move, what other possibilities are out there for a rental that meet your expectations in the price that you want? What is out there in a mortgage that may or may not meet your expectations that you may or may not want? Folks, this is not about, I'm going to go show a first-time home buyer a property. This is about, let's get real with your numbers and see if this makes sense. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that makes a transaction happen is expectation and opportunity. There's either an opportunity to meet the buyer's expectation or there's not. So it's very specific to every first-time home buyer. So it's not a question, is this for first-time home buyers? Is it for anybody to buy?
Not everybody.
No, not everybody. But we only know what we know based on what their needs are. If they have to move and they can't buy right now because there's not an opportunity that meets their expectations, then it's not your time.
Yeah.
That's how we have to have conversations.
But we're going to stay in touch with them until it is their time.
Yes, because now we know their expectations, right?
Thank you.
Once we know their expectations, we can provide the solution. And if we can't, when we can, we will.
Mhm. Yeah.
And this question kind of piggybacks that, because it's, well, just with the buyers, not necessarily first time, but when they're inquiring, asking, do you think the prices are going to continue to go down? And do you think we should wait or buy now? Again, it's probably like piggybacking on Beverly, where it's very situational to that individual as to whether it's a good decision to move now or to kind of stay put where you are.
And I'm a big hypothetical talker. I
Mhm.
really like to talk hypothetically. If interest rates were to go up, hypothetically, right? We know what we know right now. This
Mhm.
is the reality of the exact numbers. Does it make sense or doesn't it make sense?
Mhm.
Do you want to roll the dice? Do you have to move? Do you want to move? What does that look like hypothetically? Because it always comes down to the monthly mortgage payment. It doesn't matter what the interest rates are. It doesn't matter what the prices are. What matters is what the monthly payment is going to be. So if interest rates go up, more than likely it's going to adjust the prices downward. So do you want to buy when prices are low and interest rates are high, or when prices are high and interest rates are low? Because it doesn't stay medium very long.
No.
It's going to be one or the other.
No.
So you tell me, Mr. Seller, Mr. Buyer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they don't. And they don't. Because most people don't really run their numbers, right? Not like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
thankfully, we just had the report from CREA that came out yesterday. So the prices now for the last 30 days have fairly stabilized across Canada. That is actually good news because it's been in the reduction, the decrease for 3 months prior to that. But
help them understand we're in the new norm. This is the norm right now.
this
Mhm.
is what real estate always was like for me. Always was like, so let's talk about what your motives are to move. We always talk about ask the questions that have the W and find out if it's the right time. For
Mhm.
sure. Now, let me ask you, Beverly, if you don't mind, for somebody that's renting, then so let's say they're renting and they are first time buyers. Where you are, is the rent very, very expensive? Because it is really high here.
It's more expensive to rent than to purchase. And
Yeah, same here.
yeah, so it's usually only not a good time for them to buy if their credit or their down payment. I mean, honestly, if they don't have a home that meets their expectation within the mortgage that they're able to get, just rent again and pay more.
Yeah, 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 makes sense.
Yep.
All right.
And
Let's go.
I
Man,
know, I know.
We need to do
Now,
this more
again-
often.
music.
All right, and then would you suggest with this current market, is this a time where a seller should sell first, then buy, or buy, then sell?
For us here,
Mhm.
I because listings are sitting on the market for so long, I definitely think it's wiser to sell. I mean, you don't want to be selling a property and then have that seller not be able to close, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
The repercussions of that is huge here in Canada with, now having to be sued, possibly being sued and so forth. So I'm advising, for me, everybody's situation is different, mind you, if you do feel comfortable selling, not everybody is. Not
Mhm.
everybody's comfortable. So you just got to rock and roll with it. I always say this, very similar to what Beverly was saying. I tell everybody I don't have a crystal ball. I can only give you my best advice. You're the ones that have to sleep at night, and you're the ones that need to do what's best for you and your family. And I'm here to support you. So I don't put pressure. I never convince. I never do anything. I leave it up to them and give them the best kind advice possible. And then if they choose to do it, then I don't have to feel as bad. Although we take everything home that happens in real estate. Like you're like,
Oh yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
right now, probably better to sell
And-
first if they can.
And
If-
I look at that situation, to your point, yes, everything's situational, but it's the seller knowing their numbers. It's
Yes.
the seller knowing their bottom line. And again, the only reason that people move is a lifestyle change. That's it. Lifestyle can come in many different formats, but it's
Mhm.
only a lifestyle change that people are going to move. So they know that bottom line. And when you know your market enough to be able to have those real conversations with that seller, here's the thing, right? It doesn't cost you anything to put your home on the market and test the market.
Oh, I love that.
So
Love
what
it.
does it mean to you?
Mhm.
And what does it look like? And if you get an offer, it doesn't mean you have to take it.
Mhm.
That's when shit gets real and you're like, oh God, because I've had sellers go, oh no, I don't want to move now, right? It's like seller's remorse instead of buyer's remorse. But it's just helping them go through the process
Yeah.
and trusting, because here's the thing, guys, if they put their freaking home on the market and it doesn't sell, so what? Don't overprice it. I'm not telling you to take overpriced listings, but if they're unsure, because what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, I don't want to put my home on the market, get an offer, and then not find something.
Mhm.
Well, you can always be contingent, right, on finding a home of choice.
Yep.
You don't have to be at the beck and call of the offer that you get. See how it feels. Take it for a test drive.
Take it for a test drive. That's a really good way to put it. That's something that I always say when I'm at a table for a listing appointment, you know, when there is a little bit of hemming and hawing, because there is, let's face it, it's reality. I always say it doesn't cost you anything to put it up, and you never have to take an offer. And don't ever feel like you will ever get pressure from me to do that. You know, because I'm also looking at it this way as well. You know, that's still my sign on a yard. That's still potential new leads that will call me because of that listing. And if I show them I'm in their corner, whether it sells or not, the chances of them using me down the line are so high, right? Because I've just said, whatever is best for you, I'm here to do, right? So I think that is, again, attesting to the fact that we, working as relationship building realtors, really are realtors that do have very sustainable businesses, because people are very impressed by how we work with them, right?
Well, and I think that goes right into one of the questions, Crystal, that I see on the form of what are your fees?
Yeah.
I actually love that question in a listing appointment, because people think they just need to ask it and they don't really know why they're asking it. And I ask them, I'm like, why is that important to you? And it's funny how people can't answer it. But, you know, I'm like, here's the thing, everything's always negotiable, but the real meat comes down to, if I can't negotiate my commissions, or if an agent can't negotiate their commissions, do you really trust them to make you the most amount of money?
Mhm.
Because if you can't trust me to make you the most amount of money, that means I'm not a good negotiator. So at the end of the day, we're talking about a number that's completely non-existent right now.
Mhm.
We may be talking 6% or 7% or 10% or 5% or 4%, whatever your percentages are, but of what number? We don't even have an offer yet. Let's talk about that whenever we get the offer.
Yeah.
And I promise you, when you get the offer, that's the last thing on their freaking mind. They're not thinking about your commission. They're thinking about, oh shit, now I gotta get boxes, and now I gotta worry about home inspection. Now I gotta worry about this. You will get your full commission, I promise you.
Mhm. Yeah. Beautiful.
Les is asking, when you're encouraging a test drive and you're kind of going through those motions, are you spending the same kind of money that you would listing? So doing the staging, the photos, all of that, even if it is just a test drive and there's that chance that they're not even going to sell it anyway?
100% yes, because it's
Me
your
too.
name on that sign.
Me too. Oh my
That's
God, we
your
are twins.
credibility. That is your
I would
credibility.
never cheap out on a listing, ever, ever, ever. So for a couple of my clients that were like, okay, we are willing to test it, honestly, it sold. Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
had one who did want to sell last year. She got offers and she got cold feet. She was like, oh my God, I can't do this, you know, so we did suspend the listing. I will
Mhm.
never cheap out in my services, whether or not the people are like, okay, let's give it a try or not. And I personally, I'm always about, if anybody's listened to my webinars before, to each their own. I'm not here to judge or be judged. But I personally never ask for any reimbursement.
I don't know.
I'm not comfortable. That's not just who I am. But for those that do, and I do know other realtors that do have it written in at times, good, good. Not something I do though. What about you?
I do. I have a transaction fee. So we do charge a transaction fee, but it only at settlement.
Got it.
And then we do have a question here in the Q&A is, what are you recommending to sellers who want to sell within a year but don't need to sell now? Like what would you advise to do with a seller that's in that situation? What would you be doing?
It's
It's very
their
open
timeframe? What's
vague
their
question.
timeframe? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
every single one of these questions. I can really say it's all person specific.
Mhm,
It's what are their needs? What is their problem? What is the solution? And what is the plan B?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also, have you gone in for that CMA or trying to get in to offer suggestions for things that they can improve within the year to potentially increase the
sure.
value of the home?
Hey,
Right? So
that's
it's
huge. That's a huge thing. My biggest thing, if somebody says to me, let's say a lead is conversing with me and they're like, yeah, I would like to get a price on my home, but I'm not ready yet. You know, again, my commission sales mind hits high alert. I know that I really want to see if I can get in that home sooner than later. And that's where I adjust how I'm conversing with them as well. You know, listen, Bob, I totally understand. This is what I say. Whenever you're thinking about making a move, one of the best ways to decide when is the right time is to get a market analysis on your home, know exactly what it is that you need to do in order to get your house ready for the market. And then you'll know when is the right time. Plain and simple. 99% of the time, people will have me in. And once I'm in, I know now I'm going to do my business plan and I'm going to work that pillar of my business. And I'm going to be the one that gets the listing, whether or not it's a year later or 6 months later or the next month. Right? That's what I do. If I can get in the door, I really want to, because I want to be able to solidify our relationship if it's at all possible.
And those are actually the easiest listing appointments to get, because you're not going there with the intention of putting a sign in the yard and getting a signed contract. You're just there to educate and help guide them into where to put their money over the next months.
Yeah, very true. Listen, some people might need a good few months. I mean, we've all been in certain homes where I'm like,
sellers do. Yeah, it needs some time.
whoo, good thing it's next year. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I call it pre-packing. Just pre-packing, clearing out all the stuff you don't actually need.
Yeah. True story. True story.
We have somebody here just wanting to expand a bit, Bev, on your transaction fee.
Oh gosh, that's on my webinar too. So I learned very quickly when I started my team that I could not be profitable just on commissions. So I had to have affiliate income coming in, helping the subsidy, paying for my leads, paying for certain things. And then my transaction fee as well on our buyers, we would charge an extra 0.5% because we had a VIP program that they would buy into. And we also charge that transaction fee of $695. That how that was explained, because we were a team, and I don't care if you're a solo agent, it doesn't matter. You still have a team because you have a mortgage broker, you have a title person, you have an attorney, you have whatever, the home inspector, whatever. That transaction fee is there to help put money into your business to give them a higher level of service. Because without that, they're going to beat you up on the commissions. I mean, it's at the end of the day, whenever you get to the table, how often do you reduce commissions? I mean, it happens once in a while.
Yep.
And we can't be profitable if we don't have consistency. And that transaction fee can really put life into your business to be able to afford your transaction coordinator, your executive admin, whatever it is that you need, because it is extra income that is coming from your sales.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I think there used to be this chart that you used to be able to give people. When I was with Remax years ago, they used to have this chart where you could show people at the table, you know, it sounds like I'm making all this money, but this is the pie chart that shows, you know, this goes to the franchise, this percentage goes to our wonderful government, this goes to marketing costs, right? And I mean,
Mhm.
anything that can help us.
Well, and in reality, you said it before, we're commission based, right? So if we're relying on one way of monetizing,
Yeah.
we need to also bring in different income earners into our business to really maximize the profits that we have.
Absolutely.
Great advice.
Yeah, and we'll just do this one. It's just a recap from the same individual. It's just you missed the part about the 4 pillars. So for each of you, what are your 4 pillars? If you have more, at least 4, at least 4,
More?
4 or more. Maybe you have 10. I don't know.
So my 4 pillars, my legs to my chair are, one is called what I call internet or leads. Actually, I call it leads. So that's my Google pay-per-click leads. That's the website. Here we have realtor.ca leads, open house leads. They all kind of go into that pillar. I've got my sphere of influence pillar that I work every single week. I've got my past clients pillar who get worked also every single week. And then I have my farming. And that's where we consistently do our farming, our door knocking, and so forth. So those are my 4 pillars. And I'm a big believer, even though some of them are always outside of my comfort zone, I'm a big believer in stepping out. And I'm also a big believer in it doesn't cost you anything. You've got everything to gain.
Mhm.
So those are the 4 that we work every single week. And I've done that now for about 18 years. They've
Mhm.
never changed.
And what are you doing with your sphere of influence? We have a question. Like, what do you specifically do with your sphere to nurture them and work them?
For me?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I do is I have I took Brian Buffini. I don't know if anybody's done his program, but he's got amazing courses that you can take. And there was probably about 17 years ago, I really got into what he calls the pop buys. So quarterly, I do these little pop buy gifts. You know, they're nothing big. And I include my pillars in all of those. My sphere of influence people are touched with my newsletter. They get referrals from me clearly. They get invitations to my client events. I do networking events. I have a full business plan for each pillar that I do. And they always hear from me, always. Even if it's one month, sometimes it's just calls.
Beverly, what are your
Funny
4?
about that, Tara, is that's where I spent the least amount of my money. Was in my school. That was like when I would break down. This is why I have my big team in Virginia. When I would break down my sales, the majority of percentage of sales did come from past client referrals. And when I looked at the money that I spent on that, it was appalling.
Yeah.
It was really, so my first pillar was the people that I knew, my sphere. And then it moved to, I have my sphere, then it was my conversion, my online. And at that point, it was Craigslist. It was the Google pay-per-click, because Facebook wasn't a thing then. Facebook didn't come into play until much later. And then I was very, very buyer heavy. And that's when I realized I had all of my eggs in one basket, because I only had 2 pillars, because your business is not scalable on repeat and referral and sphere. You cannot scale it no matter how hard you try, you can't scale it because you never know what's going to happen. And I had all of my eggs in that conversion basket, and we were in a very strong buyer's market. Mm-hmm. So we had that tax credit that happened in 2010 that really knocked off the fall buyers, because they had to, everybody had to be under contract by June. And then all the buyers were like, I'm not buying now. I'm going to wait until the government comes up with some other new incentive. So that's when I got into farming circle prospecting.
Mhm. Mhm.
Farming circle prospecting. So then I had to be really proactive. And then moving into a different market, I was still buyer heavy because I was so heavy on my conversion. So now I have three legs, but then I had to move into, and I resisted expireds and FSBOs so
Yeah.
much because I don't like the competition. I don't like being hung up on. It happens, but it does. So my big leg that I focus on still today, training agents to focus on, is not the right now expireds,
Mhm.
but the biggest leg that I love, because it helps both sides of your business, is going after the listings that are not yet on the market. So when you have a buyer that is looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, blah, 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 whatever the statistics are, go back into your MLS and pull properties that sold 5, 6, 7 years ago and cross-check your history. If they have not sold yet, you have an amazing list of homes that are going to be your next potential of going on the market. So if you want to door knock, if you want to mail, if you want to get phone numbers for these people, that is your market. And there's no competition. There's no competition.
See,
Nobody's hitting
this
those.
is, for everybody that's on here, please take note of what she said. It is incredibly smart real estate.
Well, because you're
Incredibly.
feeding the buyers, right?
Yes.
Because your job is to find the freaking property, not theirs looking on the internet.
I
Your job
know.
is to be proactive. So this is how you do it. Like,
Yeah.
every agent can show the home that comes on the market, but how
Yeah.
many agents can go in and dig and help them find the home? And guess what? If they don't like that house, you may have a listing.
Yeah, no kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so
Brilliant.
that's one of the best pillars. And then I will say, breaking into the listing side, it was radio and television. Was that's when you can really move into that attraction piece, that changes the game. But that, again, that's another webinar, because it really, you have to have a value proposition. You have to have a message that's going to attract.
Yeah.
And what is that value proposition? What is that message that is going to make someone pick up the phone and call you? What's your elevator pitch?
It's amazing. Yeah. Love it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we are at time. There's so many, there's a couple more questions. I don't know if you want to, I'll ask one last one before we go.
Yeah.
It's very, again, very dependent on your market and where you are. Is, do you, either of you, anticipate the crash again? And we're going, like we saw in 2008. And do you anticipate in the near coming future that we're going to see a lot more foreclosures, just due to the rising interest rates and individuals no longer being able to facilitate or cover the cost of those mortgages?
I mean, I feel that goes hand in hand with the amount of rate increases that we've had. I
Mhm.
use, gosh, Andrew Bayless isn't going to be happy. I'm going to use my son, who bought his first house last year. His interest rate was 1.59%, you know, and of course he's ecstatic. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't
Yeah.
be? However, you know, this isn't my first rodeo. And I say to my son, it's really great, honey, but in 5 years, you know, please, 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 please budget, because it isn't going to be 1.59 when you go to renew. And that's the reality of people when they renew, and we've got interest rate hikes. Sure, could we see power of sales? Sure. What I would hope is my past clients, if they were ever in that position, they would talk to me because I'm working the pillar and I'm staying in touch with them before it would ever get to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a possibility.
When I think in Beverly, I think this was more so in certain areas in the United States, was there was a lot of homeowners literally just walking away from their houses because the market crashed so significantly that they're now paying a mortgage on a $300,000 home that's now only worth 150. Right.
Well,
So
and I
they,
think looking at what happened then versus what's happened now,
Mhm.
it wasn't new construction that was taking the market way over budget, because what happened back then was 2005, 2006, when all the new construction was going on. The average buyer was looking, they would walk into a new construction with a 30-year fixed in mind with, okay, I'm going to pay $2,000 a month on my mortgage payment. That's my budget on a 30-year fixed. They would walk into a new construction, and by the time they get their lot, their elevation, and all of their perks that they wanted to go with the house, they're now at $2,500, $3,000 a month, and it bumped them out of the affordability. But oh, if you use our lender and we do a 3-year arm, we can get your payment down to $1,500 and give you all of this.
Right.
Who wouldn't do that?
Right.
So what happened is they paid $600,000 for a house, got their payment at $1,500 on an interest only paid the $1,500, and then the market changed. They can't sell their freaking house at $600,000 now. Now they can't afford the mortgage because they didn't pay a damn dime on the interest. So
Right.
now their $1,500 mortgage went up to $2,500. They had no choice but to walk away. We don't have that same scenario happening right now. So I don't think, my opinion only, I don't think we're going to see the bam
Yeah.
burst like it happened then, because it was a different problem this time.
Mhm.
It was
I
more
agree.
on resales. And I mean, we hardly had any new construction because you couldn't get freaking lumber, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
It's true.
So I
I don't think the market's going to crash here either. I feel that with the high rates that we've had for the people that do go to renew, there could very well be a possibility of not being able to afford it anymore. I think that's always a reality, but I don't foresee a crash.
our problem here in the States is our inflation is so high right now. Like what used to cost you at the grocery store to eat on a weekly basis has doubled.
Right.
And I know, like for my son at 23 years old, he goes to the grocery store. He's like, Mom, I can't freaking afford to eat anymore. You know, and gas has raised. So I think that is more of almost, I don't want to say almost everybody, but the majority of homeowners right now have some kind of equity. So I think what we would be seeing is people wanting to put their homes on the market, but not having a place to go to, and really moving into a more consultative,
Right.
you know, real estate agent. And that's why it's going to be so vital to learn how to have these conversations and learn to know your market and numbers. And okay, this is our reality. What's plan B? If we can't make the plan happen, what's plan B? Because I don't want you to lose your home.
Yeah, that's right. But here's the deal. We have to stay in touch with them to find that out too.
Yeah.
Right? So again, it goes back to systems in place, every day working on your business, right? The more you work on your business, the more you will work in your business.
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This has been fun.
It has been.
And the next
Been
one.
Do it every Friday or every Friday, one Friday a month. We'll have to come up
Yeah.
with a different topic.
Yeah, we really could. I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah. Next time we'll have to have glasses of wine with us.
There you go.
We'll do cheers.
Run a podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Beverly. Thank you, Tara, and thank you everyone that joined us and participated, and listened and suggested some questions.
Yeah.
Truly grateful for that. This is and has been recorded, so you will see a copy of it. We'll likely, believe we'll put it on YouTube. If not, definitely we're kind of transitioning a lot of stuff to Vimeo. YouTube is being very funny these days, so we're going somewhere else. We're finding they don't like a lot of our videos for whatever reason. So we're going to Vimeo. So if it's not on YouTube, it'll be on Vimeo, but you'll get the link as well from the Zoom meeting where it'll have the recording in there for you. So if you're on here tomorrow, same time, you're going to get an email with the recording should you want to watch this again.
Awesome.
Sarah,
It's
it was
been
a pleasure meeting you.
you too. You too. Yay. All right, guys.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.